If you would have asked me a week ago if Caitlin would play anywhere other than the WNBA, I would have said not a chance. Despite the inconsistent officiating, cheap shots, and the endless media drama, Caitlin has always seemed loyal. She turned down Unrivaled twice, she turned down the Big Three, and with 8-figure endorsement deals from Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm, she has no need to chase every dollar thrown her way. But a new development could change everything. A Saudi-backed global basketball league, codenamed Project B, is coming. And they're going to be going hard at top WNBA players with massive offers. And of course, that includes Caitlin Clark. There are some big numbers being thrown around, I'll get to them shortly, but here's the reality. I think she'll be offered way more than what's being reported. The track record is there, the funding is there, and the justification is 100% there. And for the first time ever, Caitlin might face a real choice. Keep being the hero the WNBA needs and doesn't deserve, or finally get paid what she's worth. I'll break it all down. What Project B actually is, the brains behind it, and the 5 reasons why Caitlin might say yes. But first, like this video, if you think Caitlin should take her talents beyond the W, and let me know in the comments what you think will happen. Okay, so what is Project B? It's the code name for a new Saudi-financed global basketball league. It's been in the works for 2 years, and it is legit. The league was founded by Grady Burnett, a former Google and Facebook executive, and Jeff Prentice, the co-founder of Skype. They've built a serious investor group. Not random venture capital guys, but people who actually know elite sports. Their backers include US Open champion Sloane Stephens, Hall of Fame NFL quarterback Steve Young, tennis legend Novak Djokovic, and former WNBA star Elena Beard, who's now serving as chief basketball officer, meaning she'll oversee the basketball side directly. They've already said they're paying multiples higher than anything in women's sports right now. In fact, Burnett's team is already telling potential investors they plan to pay 10 times current WNBA salaries. And you know it would be much, much more for Caitlin. More on that in a minute. Now, while all of these numbers sound crazy, it's not crazy for Saudi-backed leagues. Ronaldo's got a $700 million contract. Neymar got $300 million. And then there's Live Golf, which absolutely rocked the golf world with insane contracts.
And Saudi Arabia has gotten more and more involved in sports over the past decade. Probably the biggest league that they started was Live Golf, which directly competed with the PGA and also stole some of the biggest PGA golfers because they were able to offer them insane contracts. Like the #1 Live Golf player earned $300 million. Phil Mickelson earned $200 million, and the list goes on and on.
As far as format goes, the league will be made up of 6 teams of 11 players playing 7 tournaments, each lasting 2 weeks, staged across Asia, Europe, and the Americas. And it runs during the WNBA off-season, a 14-week window that doesn't interfere with WNBA contracts or training camps. But let's be real, while this means top players could technically play in both leagues, that would mean virtually no time off. I doubt players would want to go back to the W to burn themselves out for a 1/10 of the money. And I could see Project B, if they're offering 7-figure contracts, making it a condition of their contracts that players can't play in the W. So double dipping may not even be a choice. Either way, I have no doubt many WNBA players will jump at the chance to secure their bag. Right now, under the current CBA negotiations, the proposed Supermax, the absolute top salary a WNBA player could make, is around $850,000. The veteran minimum would be about $300,000. Now imagine you're a player making $300,000 and someone walks up offering you 5 to 10 times that amount for a shorter season, better travel, and first-class everything. That's not just tempting, that's life-changing money.
A player like Sophie Cunningham, in all honesty, a player like Sophie Cunningham, who is a good contributor to a team, and we know has star power. She's got the looks. She's got the personality. The Saudis are liable to pay Sophie Cunningham $5 million in that league. There is no chance of her earning that from the Unrivaled or from the WNBA. And they're not going to agree. You can bet these WNBA players already know how much the Saudis are willing to pay.
I agree. It's going to be hard for players like Sophie Cunningham to turn down that kind of money. And there's also talk of granting equity in the league. That means instead of just collecting a paycheck, players actually own a piece of the business. That's something the WNBA has never offered. And according to multiple reports, some players have already quietly signed on. Nothing public yet, but it's happening behind the scenes. And we now have an idea who may be recruiting.
Candace Parker's involved in this, folks. Candace Parker's involved in this. You don't think she's talking to Aaliyah Boston during the podcast? Hey, AB, I got this thing. I know you're getting paid this in Unrivaled, but we could pay you this over here. I'm sure she's having that conversation. I'm sure she's having that conversation with a lot of players in the WNBA. The question is, how much are they offering, and will they jump ship?
When Live Golf launched, they had Greg Norman, a retired golf legend who knew exactly how to poke the PGA where it hurt. Project B, they've got Candace Parker as an investor. And that's just as dangerous for a few reasons. Because Candace isn't just a Hall of Famer. She's one of the most respected voices women's basketball has ever had. And lately, she's made it very clear she's not exactly a fan of how the WNBA is being run. Candace called out the league's leadership, Kathy Engelbert included, for how disconnected they've become from the actual players.
And I'll tell you this. I signed a deal with Amazon to broadcast for Amazon. I got a text from Adam Silver saying congratulations. I had my third child. I got a text from Adam Silver about my third child. Now, whether this is Adam or his assistant, somebody from the league office is reaching out to me. I got a baby gift for my third child. I get a Christmas gift from Adam Silver every year. I retired. Adam Silver sent me a text message that basically congratulated me on my career and how much I've done for the women's game, and he looked forward to how much I'm going to do from the sideline. Mm-hmm. I have not heard from Kathy.
And she's not shy about how players have been treating Caitlin Clark either. Candace's message has been simple. The W needs to be about business first, not egos, not politics, not personal beefs. And that mindset lines up perfectly with Project B. It's going to grow the women's game internationally and make the players rich. Candace isn't just a name on an investor list. She's the ambassador and potentially the recruiter who has the ear of the league's top stars. And that brings us back to Caitlin. There's no doubt Project B is going to make her a massive offer. The only real questions are, how much and will she take it? Regardless of the money, a lot of people don't think she'll accept it. They think she's too loyal, too brand conscious, too invested in the WNBA to walk away. But I think there are a few key factors people are completely overlooking. Here are 5 reasons she might actually say yes. Number 1, Project B's format. This is not a 3-on-3 sideshow. Project B is real basketball. It's 5-on-5 with 11-player rosters, professional coaching, and global arenas. It's the style of game Caitlin Clark actually wants to play. And that's huge, because we've seen what she's turned down. She said no to the Olympics. She said no to Unrivaled. She said no to Ice Cube's Big 3. Why? Because she's not interested in anything other than 5-on-5. She wants to compete. In full games, at a high level, against the best. This might not be the reason she joined Project B, but it's definitely a prerequisite. It checks a box that every other alternative league has missed. Number 2, competition level. We all know Caitlin Clark is a purist, a traditionalist. She grew up watching the W. For her entire life, the WNBA has been the pinnacle, the place where the best women in the world play. It's the biggest stage, the top competition, but here's where things get interesting. Because that only stays true until the money shifts. What happens when the top talent starts flowing to Project B? Do you really think players like Paige Beckers, Asia Wilson, or Kelsey Plum are going to turn down massive 7-figure, maybe even 8-figure, contracts? Live Golf offered tens of millions to join. If Project B throws that at WNBA stars, it changes everything. Because once the first wave of elite players signs, even 3 or 4 big names, the top competition argument collapses overnight. And if the format and competition level are a fit, it really comes down to motivation. And there may be more motivation after her sophomore season. Number 3, WNBA toxicity. I think we can all agree, the WNBA ecosystem, the league, the players, and the media, hasn't exactly rolled out the red carpet for Caitlin Clark. They've downplayed her impact every chance they get. The officiating has been brutal. And on the court, she's been physically targeted in ways the league refuses to address. And it doesn't seem like there's much motivation to change it.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them.
What should have been a once-in-a-generation marketing gift has turned into what a lot of fans see as the biggest blunder in modern sports. Now compare that to Project B. If she signs there, Caitlin Clark isn't just another player. She's royalty. First-class travel, direct creative input, global brand expansion. She'd have a real seat at the table, the kind of control and respect she's never had in the W. And maybe, just maybe, it would be the healthiest environment she's ever played in, where she's treated according to her value. Speaking of which. Number 4, money. For a long time, Jon Rahm swore up and down that he'd never leave the PGA Tour. And then he took $300 million to sign with LIV Golf. Agree or disagree with the move, that's life-changing money. And that brings us to Caitlin. I think people are grossly underestimating what she's going to be offered. $50 million is a number that's been thrown around. And while that sounds insane, it's not what she's worth. Here's the math. She was independently evaluated as being worth $1 billion to the WNBA when healthy. She brings in half of all league viewership. 50% of the audience is there for her. It's not debatable at this point. Since she entered the league, team values have more than doubled, adding up to around $2 billion in added equity. And she's the main reason the WNBA just locked in that new $2 billion media rights deal. So when I hear $10 million, $20 million, or even $50 million, I just laugh. Because if you look at her true value, globally, economically, and culturally, that's low. I think Project B could easily offer up to $200 million, maybe more. And honestly, it would still be a smart investment. Because the second Caitlin signs, the league's value would instantly jump by over $1 billion. Sponsors would flood in. Broadcast partners would line up. And the world would be watching. That's what she brings. Instant legitimacy, instant attention, instant money. Honestly, if they offered Caitlin $500 million, it would still probably be a good deal for Project B. Because if Project B lands her, it's game over. The league, if run properly, becomes a money printer. Without her, it's unrivaled with bigger paydays. Now, there's one more consideration, something that I feel is the ultimate sticking point for her. Number 5, her legacy. I really believe part of the reason Caitlin Clark has wanted to stay stateside in the top professional league is legacy. And it's easy to say that playing in a Saudi-backed league might tarnish it. But let's not forget, she wouldn't be the first WNBA legend to take her talents overseas.
There was a time when Russia paid Diana Taurasi to only play in Russia. So she skipped an entire year in the WNBA because Russia was able to pay her a salary that basically kept her out of the WNBA. It kept Diana Taurasi out of the WNBA, and then when she came back, it didn't harm her legacy at all.
This is an important point. Diana made her money in Russia, took a year off from the grind, and when she came back, her legacy was untouched. Still the GOAT. So if Caitlin Clark were to take, say, $200 million over 3 seasons, then come back to the WNBA at 27 years old, still in her prime, she could still create a traditional USA-based legacy, like Diana did. I'm sure she'd lose some American fans for playing in a Saudi-backed league, but at the same time, I'd bet many of her fans would love to see her stick it to the W and show them what it's like to get treated properly. Now look, I'm not saying Caitlin's definitely leaving. We don't know what the final offer will be. We don't know her true motivation right now. As I've said, all signs point to her wanting to play and win in the WNBA. But we do know the WNBA is a mess right now. They've treated her fans poorly. They've treated Caitlin herself poorly. And the leadership at the top, Kathy Engelbert, may not even survive the next CBA. If Engelbert is gone, maybe that injects new life into the league. Maybe things will finally start to change. Or maybe the CBA negotiations collapse and the 2026 season gets delayed or canceled. There's a lot of change coming, and now a Saudi-backed league with limitless money and a mission to make women's basketball a global product is waiting in the wings. And the second that kind of money enters the chat, you know what happens. Players go where they're valued. Unrivaled will be crushed. The WNBA won't be able to compete if it comes to that. And you better believe Project B is going to throw everything and the kitchen sink at Caitlin Clark to get her to sign. At the very least, I think it's going to reflect Caitlin Clark's true value. Unless she says no up front, it's going to be really hard to say no to potentially 9 figures. Let me know what you think in the comments. Would Caitlin take the deal? Should she? It's going to get very interesting to see how this plays out. The WNBA season may be over, but the drama continues. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.